bunch of other stuff.
Nerd alert. Nerd alert.
Hi guys, this is Damien for DSLR Nerd. How are you? It's been a while since I've talked to you. Been kind of busy. Got a new job as a creative director at a small ad agency, Monday through Friday. Besides that, I've been doing a ton of freelance, so I haven't really had any time to make any videos lately. Sorry about that. So, got a few pieces of gear around Christmas time, really, that I'm just now getting a chance to review. And one of them is the Yongnuo 600ex-rt flash. Just realized I haven't charged any of my batteries, so looks like I'm going to be doing an unboxing to start and charging some batteries, and then finishing up with the actual review of the flash unit. So let's go ahead and start with the unboxing. This retails for about $175, I believe. This is pretty much a soup to nuts copy of the Canon 600ex-rt. Pretty much the same look and function, maybe with a few improvements. I have a couple of other Yongnuo flashes, and I have a Canon 580EX2. If you're just starting out and you don't want to spend a whole lot of money, or if you're professional on a budget, Yongnuo really makes some decent quality flash units. Sure, there's the occasional bad one, but hey, there's an occasional bad of everything. So let's get to the unboxing. On the front, we've got the picture of the unit. On the side, we've got all the little specs and diagrams here. The RT means radio trigger, so Canon has its own special unit to control the function of its flash from that unit. And then Yongnuo will release the same thing, of course cheaper, to control the function of your 600ex-rt. So it's a 2.4 gigahertz signal to that between those units. It's got high-speed sync, which I love. It's got a power plug, which I love. And what else do I love? Of course, TTL. So obviously it's got TTL in it. It's got high-speed sync, and it's got a power jack, which are the three things that get under my fig leaf in a flash. So ability to do firmware upgrades. Looks like a bunch of channels. It's got sound. The Yongnuo does have a little bit better sound system than my Canon has. It basically will beep when it's ready, which I don't think the Canon has. Now, I haven't reviewed the 600ex-rt by Canon, so perhaps that one does have audio alerts. All right, so let's get on to the unboxing of the Yongnuo 600ex-rt. All right, right off the bat, there's a little sticker in Chinese, which I guess has passed. That's in English. So it's been inspected by 12. Nice little bit of bubbly wrap here. Flash unit. What else is in the box? The 600ex-rt manual, which hopefully is in English too. Yep. But it starts out in Chinese. Here's the contents of the English manual. We got features. It supports the RT system, which I talked about. Fully compatible with Yongnuo. The E3RT, which is Canon's, and compatible with Canon's ST-E3RT. Yongnuo just snags that same model number. High guide numbers, which is good. GN of 60. Supports USB firmware upgrade. That's really cool. Supports wireless optical slave function. Supports auto and manual zooming. And then ultra fast charging cycle, equipped with big size LED screen. Settings save automatically. We got a little quick start here. The components description. The more components description, talking about the LCD panel and what it does. More LCD. Some installation instructions. Basic functions. More functions. You can pause this to read any of those. More basic functions. Talking about ETL mode and manual mode and multi-mode. The GR mode. Basic functions, wireless flash shooting section here. More wireless flash shooting. Anyway, I'm sure by now you've figured out that instead of pausing my video, you can probably just go online and download this manual somewhere. Some advanced features. Interesting. Talking about reflecting your flash. Very good for photographers to know that sort of thing. And some specifications, guide numbers of different length of range, troubleshooting guide, and a little bit of a warranty card in the back, which hopefully I'm not too late in filling in. Some QR codes, we'll figure out what those do, although they're probably send you to Chinese websites. Right, so let's take a look at the unit. Yongnuo does a great job as far as manufacturing a case for their flashes. I was pleased with the cases that came with the 562s, and so far it looks like I'm going to be pleased with the case that comes with the 600ex-rt. The one addition though over the 562s is looks like a little belt clip on the side, and then another belt clip on the back here. So you could clip this to the side of a bag or on the side of your belt, and then it's got this really big Velcro-y clip on the back, which I guess could go right into your holster. Right into your belt there, so you could pull this out, so you can maybe have a couple of these ready. But I like that, it's cool. We'll pull this out. Take off my twisty. Very nice looking flash, nice and chunky. I imagine one of the things with the 562s, which are basically kind of not exact copies functionally, but physically pretty much copies of the 580EX2 flash. The 600EX Yongnuo, I would imagine, takes the same stofen or whatever you call them, the little plastic diffusers that you can stick on here, probably are interchangeable between the Canon and the Yongnuo versions. Physically, it looks like, I'm going to guess with Yongnuo, you just start with Yongnuo. It's got what looks like buttons on the side, but they aren't buttons like the Canon flashes. You don't have to press them to start moving your flash around. There is, I'm hoping, a 360-degree turn all the way around in both directions for this flash. That's fantastic. Feels nice and tight. You've got your, here's just a bit of a mushy sound when I go to, hear that? It's kind of a weird sound, bit of an odd sound. Kind of a plasticky mushy sound when I go to change the head angle. There's the USB port on the side of the flash for the firmware upgrades. And then on the side here, you've got a, oh, interesting. You've got a 1/4-20 thread on the side here. Looks like to mount a trigger. Then you've got a PC port on the side as well. And under here, standard power port. Very nice. On the other side, your battery compartment. Don't eat this. Don't do it. I know you're hungry, but don't eat the silicone gel. All right, so there's your battery compartment. I believe on my 562s, you basically just pulled this down and opened it. This one does have a little latch over and then down and then open, which my 580EX2 did, and I would imagine the 600EX-rt from Canon does. So that's kind of cool. Oh boy, this is a big deal to me. Yongnuo has now copied Canon's latch, which is just awesome. The weather sealed rubber on the bottom here, and this lovely little latch that that you have to press. It locks over there in place. You can't move it until you press this little button. I love that about my 580EX2. Absolutely love it. If you've ever used the any of the cheaper Yongnuos or any of the cheaper flashes out there, they have that little plastic ring to tighten it on top of your hot shoe or cold shoe. And the plastic tightening rings on there, they just don't feel like they tighten very tight. They feel like they could wiggle off. But this is a good, hopefully once I put it on my camera. Oh yeah, that feels really nice and solid. Almost as good as Canon. I'd say it's pretty close. It's maybe a little tighter feeling or stronger feeling when you make that latch on the Canon, but that's just a fantastic addition. Once you use, as I said, once you use those little hand tightened little plastic rings, you will yearn for this and you won't want to go back. It really is a fantastic way that Canon devised, and Nikon too. I don't know. I don't have a Nikon. You tell me out there in photography land, YouTube land. Do you guys in the Nikon Pro Flash community have a little latch like this? I don't know. I'll have to look it up. So I really appreciate that. That Yongnuo lawyers don't give a crap about Canon's lawyers, and they just ripped everything off that Canon had and added the latch, which is fantastic. I mean, for 175 bucks versus $500 for the Canon Flash, feeling like physically this is pretty darn decent. Although the little mushiness I'm getting when I'm going to turn that head is a little discomforting. All right, I don't have any batteries charged, so I'm gonna have to do the rest of this video later. If I stopped here, I would get all kinds of crappy remarks. You didn't use the flash. Until I charge some batteries, I'll see you guys later for the menu breakdown and take this out around the house and use it. All right, thanks for watching. Talk to you later. All right, so this is a Canon 600ex-rt. I'm gonna leave the plastic on it because I'm not quite sure I'm gonna keep it. Got a couple of things I'm a little disappointed about, to be honest. I'm gonna talk about the major thing that I'm disappointed about this flash first and foremost is before I even turn it on. So this is the Canon 580EX2. What I love about this flash are three things. It's got high-speed sync. It's got a port on the side, a power port. Interesting, I actually never noticed that there is a 1/4-20 thread on the side of the Canon 580EX2. Something I had noticed that came with the Yongnuo 600ex-rt. Three things I love in a flash. I love high-speed sync. I love the ability to plug in a power source if you're going to be out remotely shooting for several hours. That's really nice. And I really love Canon's latch. If you buy a cheaper flash, you end up with a sort of screw attachment way of putting it onto your camera, and it's plastic on metal, so it just really doesn't get as tight as it should. But Canon's got this really awesome latch. You press the button, you lock that in, it locks nice and tight. And Yongnuo did attempt to copy that with their new 600ex-rt. However, there's a little bit of play in this, and I'm going to show you something. We're going to pop the 580EX2 on. So there is a little bit of play in the 580EX2. You can see just a little bit of twist back and forth when that's locked on, just a little bit. You don't really notice it as much because on the Canon, when you change the flash head direction, you have to press a button in, and by pressing it in, it loosens all this up pretty much. It's not very hard to turn this once that button's pressed in. With the Yongnuo 600ex-rt, and I realize I'm comparing the Yongnuo's new flash to Canon's old flash, but I don't have a $500 Canon 600ex-rt yet. We'll see if that changes. Anyway, so once you latch the Yongnuo on, you have a bit more play. It feels much cheaper, and I feel like a heck of a lot of play in there. Let's see if I can capture. See that? There's the Yongnuo, and here's the play on the Canon flash. There's a little bit on the Canon. Feels much better. So the problem with that is there is no button to change the flash head. So you've got to really apply a lot more pressure to this to get this to move. And with this flex of shaking back and forth, it's just emphasized. You really sort of don't feel like this is as solid a flash to go moving all around on top of your camera. So for that reason, I would not recommend the 600ex-rt if you're going to be shooting an event and you need to move that around a lot. I did write I did write an email to Yongnuo telling them about this, but I have never, ever, ever in about 15 attempts gotten an email back from Yongnuo, so I'm a little annoyed by them. They make a good, cheaper alternative to Canon, but their customer service is... You hear that, Yongnuo? I mean, if you don't bother to answer any of your emails, what are you saying about your company? So I might keep this. If this were my only flash and I was shooting events, I would get annoyed with it because there's no button to press, so therefore you're twerking this around really, really hard, and this is just moving back and forth while I'm doing it. Let's see if you can see that. See that? So I might return it. I might keep it if it's going to be a flash that's just going to end up on a light stand and I need the TTL to set power using my Cactus 6 triggers, then I probably will keep it. I'm just a little disappointed in it. I kind of expected them to get this latch a little better. All right, so given that major gripe, let's turn it on. Sorry for the plastic. As I said, this might go back. So you have your test button like other flashes do. The knob is pretty easy to turn. This is your main mode button to change between ETTL manual and multi. Then you have a trigger mode button here, which will change it into a couple different settings. You can get into slave modes on manual and such there. I'm not going to go completely in through this menu. I'm sure people have reviewed it before. The function buttons are here, these four, depending on what settings, depending on what part of the settings you're in, they do different things. But mainly the first one changes your, see the little 35 start to flash there and highlight. That's your zoom for different levels. The second one typically sets so that you can manually dial up or down the output of the flash. In ETTL mode, you can set the exposure compensation, the exposure bracketing was the second one, high-speed sync, second curtain sync, exposure lock, modeling light, and Canon camera menu accessibility is reported. So it does, those function buttons do different things whether you're in ETTL or the M mode, which is manual. Multi-mode is basically a stroboscopic mode. The speed light will flash according to the flash's output, flash frequency and number of flashes you set. And it's a way to set up multiple flashes to get multiple exposures on a subject. Someone's gone through every little bit of this. I'll see if I can find the manual online to post in my YouTube video. So it doesn't do anything spectacularly different than a flash you're used to using before. There's a little USB plug to update the firmware on the flash. However, the software that runs the update for the firmware of this flash can only be installed on a 32-bit system, and everything is 64-bit these days. So I hope Yongnuo is addressing that. The reviews I read on Amazon was that pretty much everybody has 64-bit on their computer now, and it was quite hard for people to upgrade the firmware on this. A couple of the problems I did read on Amazon, some people were saying that after they turned the flash off, it was emitting a nasty whine sound that sort of drained the batteries on them after they shut it off. I haven't had that problem on mine. Just make sure that if you order it from Amazon, you don't do what I do and wait like 2 months before opening the box and trying it, because I'm really on the fence about this wobble. I find it to be a bit annoying, but I was actually surprised that there was a little bit of wobble on the 580EX2 that I hadn't really noticed before until I tried this flash out, mainly because, as I said, you have to press the button to turn this. You don't press any buttons, and the the difficulty in moving this around really emphasizes that wobble back and forth to me. So also it makes, as I said in my earlier video, it makes a bit of a mushy sound when I go to bend this. You know, weird. The bounce cards compared to the 580EX. Sorry, I don't have a 600ex-rt to compare this to. Look at that, there's kind of a mark in there on my bounce card. Brand new flash. Feels pretty good though. These two feel like they're working well. No complaints on that. Again, I really like the way the battery door opens. You have to slide that over and then pull it down. I love that it's got a 1/4-20 like the Canon's expensive flashes, a PC port, and a way to plug in external power. I haven't used the 600ex-rt, so I can't say how good or bad this knob is. I hear it's a little nicer feeling on the Canon, not to be surprised. It is much easier to turn than the wheel on the 580EX2. I find that I had a lot of difficulty turning this with just one thumb. I had to kind of get up and use 2 fingers to rotate this, so pretty difficult to move that on the 580EX2. I imagine the 600ex-rt by Canon is kind of similar. So I do like that this is quite easier to turn. I guess I'll go around and snap a few pictures of it real quick and include those in the video for you. So I'm doing this part of the video with my lights off so you can see the focus assist beam, which I think works pretty well, but oddly enough, I don't know if you can see it, based on where the camera is sitting level on this table, the focus assist beam is like a little crooked. See that? I know it's just flashes for a second, so it's kind of hard to see. It's oddly a little crooked, but it does its job well. So I took a few shots. I think it's a nice flash. You know, you can't really find ETTL for under $100, so the basic ETTL flashes start at about $100, and this one retails for about 175. So for 75 more bucks, you're getting high-speed sync. You're getting the power plug on the side, and you're getting the RT, the radio system that you can use with your existing Canon 600ex-rt system, or the with other Yongnuos. Canon, as I said, Canon and Yongnuo both make a on-camera control system for this flash that are interchangeable. So maybe you've got a few Canons and you wanted a couple more flashes on the cheap that still work with that radio system. So I give it an overall pretty good review. I just wish the latch was better. That latch is really fantastic. I love it versus the plastic rings. But I think it would annoy me if it was the only flash that I used for an event and I had to move the head around quite a bit. So if you're not moving the head around a lot, then you really won't be a pain in the butt. Now, once this is latched, it is on there pretty tight. I wasn't able to pull it or anything, so it does latch quite nicely. I don't know how well this is weather sealed. It says in the manual not to take this out into the weather, so I assume this flash unit is not at all as weather sealed as the Canons are. I just, as I said, I don't love the little bit of wobble in there, but that's not too bad given that there was a little bit of wobble with the 500. Okay, thanks for watching. See you later. Ask questions in the comments. Please come to my blog at dslrnerd.com. Please click on any Amazon link I have in my blog to go through and purchase the 600ex-rt or anything else really. It doesn't matter what you purchase as long as you click on one of my links first. You can click on anything else then and purchase anything else, and it sends me a few bucks, which I appreciate. It helps keep this blog going. So thank you very much. This has been Damien for DSLR Nerd, and thanks for watching. Don't eat this. Don't do it. I know you're hungry. but don't eat the silicone gel.